This is cs952 Introduction to Web Technologies and Design, and in this video we're going to be covering the material in the first two PDF files in Etudes. The first PDF is all about defining your website, and the second one is about putting in your server settings. So let's talk about defining a website, and I'm reading from the first PDF now. Defining a website is the key to file management in Dreamweaver. The first thing you should do when working with Dreamweaver on any computer is to define a site. Defining a site tells Dreamweaver where all of your files will be stored for your website. Without a site definition, Dreamweaver may run into difficulties linking or organizing your files and images. You must define your site on every computer you use Dreamweaver with in order for Dreamweaver to associate web pages, images, and related files. Now, this means, for example, if you're at home working on your home computer, you're saving your files to a flash drive, you then come to West LA College one day to work on your website. When you sit down in front of that computer at West LA College and you launch Dreamweaver, the first thing you need to do is to define that website. Even though you already defined it on your computer at home, you're working on a different computer, do the website definition again. And you should always avoid working on files outside of your website. Let's say you're at the college and you download an image you really like and save it to the desktop of that computer. You want to make sure that that image gets inside of the root directory for your website, which is probably, say, on a flash drive. Because if you're referencing an image outside of the folder that you designated as your root directory, when you go home, that image probably will not be there. So, step one, create a root or home directory to store all of your files for your website. Before telling Dreamweaver where the files are located, you can build a home directory, or as you go through the process, we can create a new folder and save your directory. Now, many beginning web developers simply start making web pages, skipping the site definition step. Now, this is a major mistake when you're using Dreamweaver. You'll make your web development life much easier by completing this important step before any development takes place. And every website has a root directory. The root of a website is the main directory that contains all the files and all other directories. When you define a website, Dreamweaver considers that root directory and all the files or subdirectories within it to be the entire universe of that particular website. I've said a lot, but it's actually pretty darn easy. So let's go right into Dreamweaver and define a website. So here we are in Dreamweaver, and everything that we need to do as far as defining websites, managing our websites, it's all available under the Site menu at the very top of Dreamweaver. So let's go to Site. You can see Site is right up here at the top. I'm going to click on that. And when I do, I see the Site menu. So I've got New Site and Manage Sites. And really this is all we're ever going to be dealing with. So let's choose New Site. And the site setup for unnamed site opens up. And the first thing that Dreamweaver wants to know is what's the name of our website. So I'm going to type in the name Pencil, P-E-N-C-I-L, because for our tutorial I'm going to be making a website about pencils. Now, your website could be anything that you want it to be, but I do need to give my website a name. Next, I need to tell Dreamweaver what is the local folder that stores all of my files for the website. Now, I'm going to be using a flash drive. I've got a flash drive plugged into my computer. You want to make sure you have that flash drive plugged in before you launch Dreamweaver, so that when you go to save the files, your flash drive has already been recognized by your computer. So to set the directory for my website, I'm going to use this folder icon. When I hover over it, it says Browse for Folder. And when we click on the Browse for Folder, we're going to be seeing this throughout Dreamweaver. We get a file dialog box where we navigate to the folder that's going to store all of our files. So I click there, and you can see we got all kinds of stuff over here. Let's click on my flash drive, which I called Pencil as well. And I'm going to create a new folder. So let's click on New Folder right up here. New folder, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to type in Final Project Pencil. Okay? And I will click on the Select Folder button. And when I do that, you can see that in the lower left-hand corner, it now says Final Project Pencil. So I will click Select Folder, and now that folder is selected. Now at this point, we're done defining our website. This is all we need to do to define a website. Give it a name, give it a location. But let's continue on and let's do our server settings. That's going to be the next step in the process. And so over here on the left-hand side, you can see I've got Site selected. I'm going to click on that next item in the list that says Servers. And when I click on that, then I get my dialog box all about setting up my server. So let's see what servers are all about. Now we have another PDF, and again, this is available in eTudes, and it says putting your website on the internet, remote server settings. The remote server is the place where your website lives on the internet. The remote server is a computer that stores all your web pages and related files. When you visit your website, a request is made to this remote server, and the remote server then delivers the web pages to your viewing device, whether it is a smartphone or a desktop computer. Now, every student in CS952 has their own personal subdomain at the CS952 website. This is the address to the remote server you will be using. You will upload your assignments to your subdomain, then go online to your subdomain to view your website on the internet. You must use this website for all your assignments for this course. Your subdomain is based on your first name plus the first letter of your last name, followed by .cs952.org. So let's take the example of a student named Jose Garcia. Okay, the subdomain for Jose Garcia would be joseg.cs952.org. So Jose is the first name, Jose. Last name Garcia begins with a G, so we just have the G. .cs952.org. The login and password. You need a login and password in order to upload your files. To access the remote server, we will use FTP, or File Transfer Protocol, and this ability is built into Dreamweaver. You'll need a FTP username and password. All the students in CS952 have a unique username and password already created for you. Your username is based on your first name plus the first letter of your last name. This is really similar to your subdomain, okay? Your username is almost the exact same thing as your subdomain, except in the case of your username, rather than .cs952, it's at cs952.org. So the username is a little different from your subdomain. The username uses the at character in place of the period. The username resembles an email address. So the username for Jose Garcia, it's joseg, Joseg, at cs952.org. Okay? Your password is your student ID number. That's your 9-digit number that begins with 88. Your password is your student ID number. That's that 9-digit number that begins with 88, plus the first letter of your first name in lowercase, plus the first letter of your last name in uppercase, plus an exclamation point. So we're trying to follow good practices here for our password. Our password is not just password1, right? So in this example, Jose Garcia has the following student ID, 8801234456. So what's his password? Well, his password is going to be 8801234456, lowercase j, capital G, exclamation point. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to get started actually putting these values into Dreamweaver and creating the remote server definition.